Well, Turtle fans, it took us a while to track down Wave 2 of the awesome TMNT Mutant Mayhem figures by Playmates. One toy of the year, so you can't beat that. I think awesome is highly accurate. And we tracked these guys down and we want to show them to you. We're very excited about them. And we're going to, like our previous video, we're going to take it back to the old school Playmates figures and show how the characters evolved and what has sort of been inspired by those classic designs and what has changed drastically. So why don't we first, as always, start by looking at this packaging because we hadn't seen it before. I gave you guys a little tease earlier in the week. So for Mondo Gecko here, you can see him here with his skateboard, which was an original accessory for him, but he's also including a little frisbee. So it's kind of fun. Fits with his personality. It's got that little tie-dye on it there. He just looks great. I love that look for him. And then we have Wingnut here, a bit of a larger character. We'll check that out in a second. But Wingnut has the design change of being a little bit more robotic than the original Wingnut. Does not come with screw loose this time around, wasn't featured in the film. But you can see the nice packaging design there for Wingnut. Wingnut's signature here is Robobat. I didn't call out Mondo Gecko's The Chill Dude. And next up we have Scumbug. Scumbug the Vermin. You can see Scumbug here. I love that weird design. It definitely, I mean, looking at the eyeballs, and I'll give you more close-up shots of the figure when we get out of the package. It definitely looks like the animation. They did a great job on Scumbug here. Really love it. So you have Scumbug here, some fun little accessories. You can see that little picture of Splinter. It's a spoiler for the movie there. And then last but not least, we have Genas Frog, which I think might be my favorite out of this bunch because of the packaging and of the figure design here. So you can see the figure here comes with this giant axe and then this great, like, large cupcake kind of look for the figure. But the fun thing on the package, as you can see, is that try me dial. So when you get around to the front, you could rotate this dial and it sticks the tongue way out, and then you could recoil it back into the packaging. This used to be more prevalent on toys in the 90s. They would have like a button to push it, to light it up, or to make it spin, or do some kind of action function. And I haven't seen this a lot on packaging recently, so this is awesome to have this throwback element on the packaging to make you interact with the character on the shelf. It just makes you want it more. So nice job on that. But that is essentially a look at the packaging. I know you guys want to see these, so I'm going to pull you in. You want to see the figures and not me. We're going to focus the entire review just on these figures here, and then we'll have their counterparts for Genas Frog, for Wingnut, and for Mondo Gecko. Playmates has not released a classic Scumbug yet. Not sure if that is in the works, but I'll have a picture of it up for you what the classic one looks like, and I'm sure it's on their list, and we'll probably get to it soon. But these other three have classic versions that are in stores now, so we'll show you those alongside them. I bet you're wondering, where is Ray Fillet? Ray Fillet is coming. At the end of the video, I'll give you an update statement. I did see Ray Fillet, so I will update you guys on Ray Fillet. So why don't we hop in and check out these awesome figures. All right, the moment has arrived. We're going to be checking out these awesome figures and how they compare to their classic style characters. So as always, I want to preserve the card backs here. So we're going to start with Mondo Gecko, the Chill Dude. Really interesting character, even back in the day when they created him. He's just this he embodies sort of like the spirit of adults trying to capture what kids were like in the 80s. He's cool. He's got a skateboard. He speaks surfer or whatever. So the Chill Dude here, Mondo Gecko. And of course, he's going to be held in by a bunch of little straps. So we're going to be using our screw cutters to get around all these. What I like about the design of a lot of these characters is they tried to preserve the legacy design of the original characters as well. So it's kind of great. So we should see a lot of similarities and callbacks to the old classic Playmates toy line, and as well as what they looked like in the original series. He's got a couple more here. So right away, what I'm noticing is he has an extra little accessory, and that's his backpack. So that's pretty cool that they gave you that as well, and that could push in right here. So a fun little accessory there, and you can see the straps on the front here. So he's definitely wearing that backpack. So sharp looking figure. He's got his little shirt, he's got his bug eyes, and a hair that you can see is sort of pushing through a sort of like topless hat. So it's just like a mega visor or something on there all the way through. So really cool. And then you can see jewelry on the arms there. Nice job on that. And then of course that skate on the tail. So looking at his articulation, he has the arm joint that can move in and out as well as rotate forward. He has an elbow joint. He has his rotating hands. He has his rotating head that's on a ball. And then of course he has his legs here, the knees bend, the ankles bend, and the feet turn out as well. So a lot of articulation on these figures. They did a really great job with this whole line. I absolutely love it. That's why it won Toy of the Year. So another great fact or fun thing you could do is you have that skate there, so it's that extra point of contact and extra point of balance for Mondo Gecko. So he could ride on his skateboard. There's a little hole there to have you help him ride, and the wheels do turn a little bit, so you could actually move the skateboard. And then he has this fun little frisbee, and it has a little hole in it here, or the peg, so you can stick it in his hand and make it look like he's playing frisbee with his turtle friends or whatever. So fun that they captured that. So how does he compare to his original Playmates classic figure? So we have him here with his skateboard. We'll put this in his hand for a moment. And he's up here waving at you. And then we have the original. Well, this isn't, the original. This isn't from the 80 line. This is from the Classics line that Playmates is currently re-releasing. So he just came out, I believe, like last month. So you get a sense of what this looks like side by side with his classic counterpart. So of course they kept the skateboard. It doesn't have rocket power like the original one did. They kept that skate on the tail, and that was a fun little detail that they kept in the movie to sort of capture that element. Still has the backwards cap like this one does, but he has hair poking through. He just has the hair strip running down the front. Has braces on here. And this one doesn't have teeth, so it's kind of hard. I can't recall if he had teeth in the movie and if he was able to show braces. He has some more pads for safety here on his knees and ankles. He's not wearing any pads, so a little different. Still has that t-shirt with that fun little skull and crossbones symbol on there. This one is more of a peace symbol, so some differences there. He's got shorts. I think all he's wearing is a shirt. He might be wearing shorts underneath. I don't know. So those are sort of the major differences, but they still kept those classic callouts like that skate on the tail. I think that's fun that they kept that in the new design of the character. So and then of course the core elements of the skateboard need to be there, and this is his only accessory in the classic line is this skateboard, where he's included with a frisbee here, so a little bit more fun. Now the other accessory I would have loved to have seen would have been the crowbar he had from the film. That would have been a nice easy thing to throw in there to give him something to bash with. But I like how they have his backpack to just build him out a little bit more, so it's a fun character all around. So that is Mondo Gecko. Let's check out Wingnut next. So we got Wingnut here. A lot of design differences on Wingnut. Fun that they included it in the film. It's just one of those like classic characters that were on the show, but also like one of those big figures you remember from childhood that you absolutely loved. It had that weird Batman energy to it as well. And you know, it's come back recently in the Classics line, and Super 7 has an Ultimates version of it coming out soon as well. So Wingnut is having a resurgence. So Wingnut is Robo-Bat. The big thing on him here is he's got this robotic, or she has this robotic component to her. So again, held in place by 100 of these tabs. So we're gonna cut all these here to hopefully maneuver this out a little bit easier. So we'll see if this looks like two parts to this packaging. So interesting here. So flip this over, take this out, and it looks like some assembly is required on this one. Now this is secured, the packaging is secured here by multiple ways. The figure is secured here by multiple means. So very, very secure in its packaging. So we'll cut those out for the figure. And then also on the wrists, I'm trying not to get caught off guard this time by the packaging. These things surprise me, where you're always going to find one extra tab somewhere or something to keep you from removing item from packaging, and try not to get caught this time. A lot of accessories here, it looks like. In the film, I don't think there were any accessories. I think the character just kind of floated around. So we'll pop these accessories out, and we will pop the figure out as well. So there we go. Okay, not too difficult this time around. We'll give you a nice close-up of Wingnut after we assemble the wings onto the figure. And I had one just pop off and fly below me here. Forgive me as I reach around for it. Here we go. Got it. So we have these wings. Don't seem to be any instructions or anything, so I'm just going to guess on how these are supposed to go on. And I'm going to assume, based on the back here, there's holes on both sides. So we'll see how these fit in. Hopefully they designed it that there's just only one way to put them in. And I think that might be the case. I'm guessing the more detailed, oh wait, here, totally off. The more detailed side probably faces forward. So they're both actually pretty detailed. So I could try this or this. It looks like this way. Okay, so this way, because you're going to want the little claw arm things at the top there, and then it kind of fits in better with the side profile. So there is only one way to really do this. So they designed it so you can't mess it up. So people like me can't mess it up. So this really makes the character bigger. I really like that. You can see this really great aesthetic to Wingnut here. Just looks awesome. I mean, it has all those little robotic call-out components to it. Has the wings to really expand and make the figure bigger, and you could always pop those out if you wanted to make the figure a little bit smaller. But why would you? I mean, it just looks great. You can see some details here. There's a little bit of something here on the belt. I'm not sure what those are supposed to be. And then that bat insignia here along the front of the buckle, little spikes on the ankles, those big ears. Nice job on Wingnut here. Good articulation. This head just turns side to side. The arms have a nice range of motion and bending at the elbow. The legs just kind of turn. They don't move up or down. I don't see any way for, nope, they just kind of spin. Same with the ankles. So there's a couple points of articulation, but not as much range of motion as Mondo Gecko had. But, you know, it's a robot, so that makes sense. So Wingnut has a couple of accessories here. One being what looks like a grapple gun, which is kind of weird. Oh, and I lost the wing. Which is kind of weird for a creature that could fly. Why would you need a grapple gun? I guess you could use it to pull things away from people. So we'll just stick that here in this arm. It's like a very Batman-ish accessory to have a grapple gun. And an even more Batman-ish accessory is this batarang that comes with the character here. So you could throw this in the other side. So it's kind of that fun look. And that calls back to the original character, was heavily inspired by Batman. And the look Batman had, particularly back in the early 90s. So how does it compare to the original Classics Wingnut? So we have the Classics Wingnut figure that released earlier this year, right here, and also has an expansive wingspan, although the newer version is much larger than the classic version. There's a bunch of fun little callouts on the belt. There's an actual bat and some TNT. So, I mean, this suit looked more like it was wearing a superhero suit. It even has a mask on. Classic Wingnut was not robotic. The wings were actually robotic and had like little rockets on them and stuff like that, as you could see. But the creature was more mutant, was more less robot, more biological, essentially. So Wingnut included a couple of accessories like this gun here, which was turned into a grapple gun in the newer version. It has a grenade on the wing, you could see there. You could store different items on the wing. And that bat was its batarang. This has an actual batarang, so very close to the original style of Wingnut. The only thing missing here is Screw Loose. So original Classics Wingnut came with Screw Loose, which did not stand up very well. And the newer version does not have that little partner, the mosquito Screw Loose. So kind of sad that we didn't see that in the film, but maybe to come out in the animated series, which will be launching next year. So maybe Screw Loose will join the line. But yeah, a lot of call-outs that sort of kept Wingnut based on its classic counterpart, which is fun to really draw inspiration from that. And then doing its own thing and taking a little bit of a different direction with that robotic look. So that is all for Wingnut. Why don't we check out Genas Frog next? Genas Frog, again, very exciting because of that packaging dynamic here where you could actually launch the tongue out of the mouth. I love that. It's so fun to include that. Not necessary, but it just helps you to interact with that product and makes you just want it. So very clever on the part of Playmates to be able to include that aspect there. So Genas Frog, the Croaking Bloke. Weird to have sort of a British sort of persona to it, but you know, not gonna argue. I love Genas Frog. So again, this one is held in by a bunch of these little plastic. I don't know what they're called, but these little plastic, not cable ties, but little stretchy elastic bands that they put around the figures. So we're gonna have to cut all these to be able to get this figure out. There's several on the arms, there's one on each leg. Even though it's a small character, they've really secured it. They do not want this thing moving in the package. It's not going anywhere. So there we go. We also have the axe is also secured in by some of these little tabs. We'll get these out of the way so we can focus on this awesome character. And then we'll get his accessory out here as well. So Genas Frog looks amazing. I mean, this really tiny little bulbous design that makes it look like a tiny little bullfrog. Has this great shirt that is, I don't know, like a Hawaiian shirt there. Just a really fun look to it. Now, Genas Frog is small, so we don't expect a ton of articulation. The arms move 2 different ways, forward and laterally. The legs turn. There is nothing at the waist, and I think maybe the eyeballs articulate, or I don't think they're supposed to, but I get a little wiggle out of them. But they don't need to. I mean, the big concept here is this tongue. This tongue comes way out and goes back in. I love that. Look at that. It's easy to go back and forth on this tongue. Fun, and you can keep it at any level you want. Because it's just got a classic little dial on it. So really nice to add that dynamic. I wasn't expecting that from the figure when we saw it originally. Another thing you got here is the axe. So the axe you could throw in the hand here. If we get that to push in. Yep, and then we have that little cuff on it that just slips right onto the arm. So you have them with this battle axe here. I think it's a fun accessory. It's such a large weapon for such a small character. So really great to include that. And then how does Genas Frog compare to the classic figure? So that one is out now in stores too. This is the classic. This is not the original. So what is missing here and what is the same? So what's missing is the surfboard that Genas Frog came with. No surfboard here. Genas Frog also came with this belt of little grenades. No grenades here. Also the sunglasses, I don't have those right now. Those never stayed on the frog, so it was kind of weird to have those accessories. The tongue is captured here in this extending tongue gun. Pull it out so you could really pull it back and extend it, and that was the little feature you had with the gun here. So that sort of, they captured that with the tongue that you can maneuver out of the frog here. So that sort of kept that aspect of it. The Hawaiian shirt, we still have that Hawaiian shirt here. So they kept that, the style aesthetic there, consistent between the two. Yeah, I mean, I think there are those similarities to keep it. The axe I thought was with Napoleon Bonafrog or something like that, but it's still a frog, so we'll keep the axe. So that's kind of fun. So they drew some similarities, but they took it its own direction, and I think I love this version of it. I think it's really fun. You can even see a little indentation in the eye, and it's got that really spaced apart look and that frog-like eyes. So very cool. I think this one might be my favorite in the second wave here. So that is your look of the classic and the current version of Genas Frog, or the Mutant Mayhem version of Genas Frog. We just have one left. We're going to be taking a look at Scumbug. So Scumbug here, very fun design in the film, the vermin, as they refer to it here on the packaging. Now, there is a little difference in Scumbug for a multitude of ways. One, they changed the gender on this. Pretty sure it was male in the original, much like I think Wingnut was male in the original too. Can't fully recall. But one call out that I missed for you is the how to attach the wings. It's on the bottom of this little nameplate. Same with Scumbug here for how to attach the wings. It's going to be on the bottom of the nameplate. So we have our vermin, and then it is the wing attachment here. So those, as always, I miss those little details, and then I realize it when I'm editing a video, and I'm like, darn, I'm not going to go back and reshoot a video, but I try to look for these things so I can call them out at some point while I'm doing it so I don't miss it, and then you guys don't miss it, but maybe you're just better attention to detail than I am on these things, but yeah, it's just... sometimes it helps just to be able to find those directions, or if you're like me, you're looking at other YouTube videos people have done to see if they figured it out, so you can figure it out, because sometimes they give you accessories or holsters and you just don't know where these things go, and they're not always intuitive, and there's no instructions. So I appreciate it when they could, someone, the manufacturers of these things, could design it in a way that we could figure these things out. So Scumbug has a few accessories here, and then this awesome looking figure. So while I pop this out, I'll give you the 360 view of Scumbug. Love this design, and like I said, it really makes it look like it left right out of the animation with the weird like blotting on the eyes there. Crazy bonkers design to Scumbug, and I really appreciate that. So nice work on this. So then we have the wings. I think these are just easier to figure out than the other ones. So you could have two versions if you wanted it with the wings, without the wings. I love how they have these little wing covers that can go up and go down. So you could have a version of Scumbug without the wings popping out. And then you could put it in here, and they snap into place. And then you have this really expansive wing line. So again, another creature with even more expansive wing line than Wingnut. So they really played out the expanse on these characters. So this one has articulating knees, articulating legs, arms move here, no elbows. The hands do turn though, and the head does turn. But yeah, I mean, really nice look to Scumbug, particularly those eyes. I love how they did those eyes there. And then they have the back here. Like I said, these flaps go up and down. So really nice design on Scumbug. And your main accessory is going to be the vomit, which there's a little slot here. You can slot it into the mouth. That fit in there pretty easily and make it have its throw up feature. That's it. The only other accessory, and we'll see if this could fit in the hand or something, is this framed picture of Splinter showing their love at the end of the film. So this one can slide. Let's see if we can slide it into this claw-like structure here that Scumbug has on her side. Yep, there we go. So she could hold her framed photo of Splinter. So fun. It kind of changed up the dynamic of Scumbug for the film. I don't have a classic version of Scumbug because Playmates has not made a classic version of Scumbug yet. So here is a photo on your left here of what classic Scumbug looked like. Drastically different. Still had these little mandrills or whatever poking out of the top. Still had these bug eyes, but Scumbug, you could see, still had more of a humanoid look to it. It had a human hand. It had its legs and still a human design to them, although it had that purple color still. Scumbug had like a blaster, and yeah, it was just a different design to Scumbug. Back then, he even had a human shirt. This one is complete like mutant at this point. There is no, it doesn't seem like there's any humanity left in the design of this figure. It went completely bug, so that's fine. It still has some callbacks to the classic Scumbug. So I think they did draw some inspiration there from the characters, as you can see, the little, I guess, mandibles here in the jaw. So a lot of those little elements are still mirrored over from classic Scumbug, but this went its own way. This is probably the most drastic redesign. I mean, Genas Frog was pretty drastically redesigned, but still had the Hawaiian shirt and some other aspects with the tongue and stuff like that. This is a complete redesign of the character. from the original line, but still having some of those hallmarks or callbacks to it. So still pretty cool. So this is a fun one as well. I'm really glad we made it. So that is, I'm sorry, that Playmates made it. So that we haven't. So that is your look essentially at the Wave 2 of Playmates Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem line. Very excited to get this wave. There's just one or two characters rather we don't have, and I will update you on that in just a moment. So I hope you enjoyed this look at the TMNT Wave 2 of the Mutant Mayhem line from Playmates. Awesome figures, amazing design to all of them. Love the Genas Frog. I mean, just look at this little bulbous guy. He is great. He's got that fun little tongue feature as well. So a lot you could do with him. And with all these figures, just great work. So this is not the final wave. There is one more wave coming out, and we'll get to that in just a moment. You can get these guys on shelves right now. They're starting to hit stores. There is no pre-order for them. There is no online order yet, so maybe some fan channels will get those up soon. If you use inventory trackers, here are the codes, the SKU codes from Walmart. So if you want to check and see if these guys are populating in your stores, you could do that. You could pick these guys up now. These guys are also available. We give you a tease of the latest wave, including Mondo Gecko, Ray Fillet, and April O'Neil. So you could grab those in stores right now. Of course, Wingnut and Genas Frog are also out. So what is coming next? So there are a lot more coming in this line. So the next line, I think it should be hitting around April, and we will get a single carded version of April. I haven't grabbed her because I don't want that giant pack of repacks essentially. So there will be a single carded version of April coming. We saw that at Toy Fair. There will also be baby mutant versions of all these characters. It was kind of an off-camera thing. They're not the test tube versions, but slightly bigger. We got baby turtles, but there were like toddler, versions of all these characters, as well as Bebop and Rocksteady, and I think Superfly. So those are coming. And Ray Fillet is coming. Don't worry. So there is the already announced the series that is coming. I think to Paramount Plus or wherever this is landing. That series is coming out with all the turtles in it, based on the animation style of the film. So the Ray Fillet figure, which I did see at Toy Fair, is part of that line. So that line is launching, I believe, next summer, and that line will include the Ray Fillet. So upsetting that he's not in the Mutant Mayhem packaging, but he looks exactly the same because all the animation of that line is based on the film style animation. So Ray Fillet is in that line, and that's how you finally complete your Mutant Mayhem mutant set. So you get your Ray Fillet. In addition to that, I wish I could go into it. I don't think they want us talking about what we saw, but there were a ton of other classic Turtles characters that are now in the Mutant Mayhem artwork style. So you will be seeing other fun characters appear as well in the series, and those figures will be launching around the time of the series, so you get some other spin on classic characters. I will say that Playmates has not done a classic version of these characters yet. So, I mean a relaunched classic version of those characters. So that's the only tip I'm going to give you. So those figures are coming as well, but we'll finally get our Ray Fillet when that line launches, so you'll be able to round out the set. But these will be on shelves now or very, very soon. So it will help you finish your set. If you get that play set, you can really add to that dynamic. We showed you these at Comic-Con. We showed you I don't think we showed them to you at Toy Fair. We gave you the press promo image instead of showing you the footage. They didn't want us filming in their booth. But yeah, that is essentially, finally we got our hands on them and we saw the package shots, which I gave you. I've never seen package shots before, just out of their packaging. So did not expect to see this little tongue dynamic. Very fun. So that's all for now. Another little turtle look for you guys. Of course, we'll be updating you with any more products that come out. We're still tracking Rat King and Casey Jones on the Classics line that we saw there in their booth. That have not hit shelves yet, or was not in the most recent line. It was just Ray Fillet, Mondo Gecko, and April O'Neil. So we will be on the lookout for that elusive Rat King that was advertised being part of 2 waves ago and was never re-released in the Classics line. Not having the best year. I mean, he was also put into the Super 7 Ultimates line, and then he was taken out of the wave. So maybe 2024 will be the year of Rat King. We'll see. The year of the Rat King. We'll see. So that is your look for now. I hope you enjoyed seeing these guys. I really love them, and I'm sure you will too. So be on the lookout for those. As always, like, subscribe, and follow for more Turtles news, and we will see you guys next time.